We love horror movies from the 70s and 80s, and we watch them for 2 days straight, and then we go write a book. Now we're looking back at every title, one at a time, in this podcast that we put out monthly. Once we've had an episode for every movie, it's time to meet up for another Shock Marathon. Oh yeah, the red light is red, which means we're recording an exciting edition of the Shock Marathons podcast. I'm Matt Farley here with Tom Scalzo.
Hello.
And Charlie Roxburgh.
Greetings.
And we're going to give an 18-second synopsis of the walking tour that most of you didn't go on. Charlie, we had the time of our lives. We had 3 people pay $37.50 to do it, and there were no regrets. No buyer's remorse.
It was jubilant. Not only remorses from people who didn't go.
Yeah, non-buyer remorse.
I mean, once it started, it was just like treat after treat. We kind of planned a lot of little like extra bonus things.
Yeah, a surprise around every corner.
And walking and talking, and it was great. In fact, we started to discuss. Peter even had some ideas for like, hey, what are you guys doing for River Beast 2? And then we started throwing some ideas around. It was like
a meeting of the minds.
A meeting of the minds. And I got the feeling that, hey, we could have even hung out like longer and thought up more ideas. And if we kept hanging out and talking, we probably would have had more movies to make because we would have come up with more ideas.
Tom, I want to do it next fall in Massachusetts. We have that park where we filmed with McHugh a lot. We have the park up there. We could even walk it. I realize. So listeners, stay tuned for that. But now let's focus on a little movie that has two titles. One of them is Rituals. Do either of you know the other title? Tom?
No. The Creeper.
The Creeper. The Creeper.
Both of them. I'm like
0 for 2.
Yeah, because the Creeper, he does creep around a little bit, but he's
hardly in it. Also, you know.
Yeah, he's hardly in it, and usually that word kind of means more of a
peeping Tom. Yeah.
Yeah, predator kind of guy, like a sexual predator or scary, that kind of guy. This is just like injured, crazy woodsman.
Yeah.
And Rituals. There's
no rituals going.
There's not a ritual to be seen here, right?
I read a review on Letterboxd that it says, spoiler alert, the ritual is murder. I was like, I appreciated that because I don't know what else it means.
What was that great tagline? Do you have the tagline handy, Tom, or no?
Hang on, yeah, I do.
They did have yellow terry cloth hats on as perhaps some ritual.
It's
like
ridiculous.
The ritual of the yellow terry cloth.
The back cover of the VHS says, "There are many kinds of rituals, but there is only one that has no rules: survival."
What?
Oh, cannot be a ritual.
It doesn't make any sense.
All right, well, let's get to work here. Starts with a plane landing.
Low budget rule. So proud of this plane. And they're proud of their easy listening music there, too. I mean, that is enough to put you right to sleep.
Tough start right there.
Yeah.
So now the guys are talking over breakfast. They're all doctors. They're all despicable people. And they're discussing medical procedures. Teflon arteries and how much money they could earn from doing it. And
yes,
Harry
looking at disgusting pictures of hearts during breakfast.
It's so heavy-handed. But Hal Holbrook though, he asks if it's ethical because he's a good guy. What were you saying, Charlie?
Is there like a quicker way to make your audience dislike your characters than introduce them as guys who are talking about making already probably rich guys talking about making extra bucks off questionable medical methods? Like, if not only do I not care about his technical details, which sound too written anyway,
boring,
but but also I'm just like hating them so much because of the manner with which they talk about it, except for Holbrook.
Right, which they want us to. They want us to because this is a morality play. They want us to be upset with them. But
they went too far,
And the real question is just like, why? Why bother? Like, come on. Of all the things you could do, like, are you the writer really angry at doctors? I don't know. Yes.
Just real quick, if this were like a teenage movie and teenagers are chatting about like the big game and boys and stuff, it's very much like ultra teenagery. And that's fine. It's just because it's like pleasant. If you say let's make ultra doctory, it's like just don't do that. That's not what we want to hear.
Nobody wants that.
It's like the Zero Boys paintball. How so much they talk about paintball or into paintball. Here, these guys are so much into their doctor talk every second.
Yeah, paintball talk, much more fun. Much fun.
Better, yeah.
Okay, so now Harry and what's the annoying guy's name? Mitzi? Yeah. Is that his name?
Mitzi.
Yep.
Harry and Mitzi are now on a dock, and let's listen to them. Let's listen to them talk. This is what we had to endure. This is just a small sample of what we had to endure, folks.
You're ugly puss once in a while. I never see you anymore. No one sees you anymore.
Look, we've been all over this before. Lakeview lets me run neurology my way, and that's the way I like it. So don't start.
Who's starting? Who's starting? If you want to work your guts out for peanuts, be my guest. But let me point out a few things to you, sir. A, Lakeview is a well-known snake pit not fit for human habitation. B, you're a first-class surgeon. C, they need you. D, one of these mornings you're going to wake up needing them. And what do you got to show for it? A lot of worthless glory.
I'll take my chances.
Like Marty? He cracked up doing what you're doing.
Marty had other problems.
He was one of the best surgeons I ever saw.
He still is.
He's a juice artist, Harry. A juice artist. About all he does these days is reduce hernias and sign death certificates at that steel mill he worked at.
Well, at least he tried.
Oh, God. That's rough, huh, guys? So they're talking about Marty, the alcoholic, right?
Yeah. How common is juice artist as a term?
I'd say 0. Is it a Canadian phrase, Tom?
I've never heard anyone say that before. It definitely doesn't seem like anyone would pick up on that.
Does it mean alcoholic?
No, it means someone who drains boils and stuff. He explains it later.
Oh my God, Tom. Thank God you're sure about that?
Yeah, he says all he does is lance boils and reduce hernias and things like that. It's gross.
Wow. Because there's so much talk about the other characters too, like the fathers who were sauce experts or different things too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that.
But he mentions it pretty soon after that. After the quote you just played.
Wow.
So Harry, it's in a very heavy-handed fashion. We've discovered that Harry is the most ethical of these doctors. So they were on the dock, and now suddenly it seems like they're back to walking out of the restaurant. But this movie is strangely edited. Strike one against this movie is that we hate all of the doctors. So now they're in the plane, and is it comic relief they're going for when the pilot shows off his surgery scars, almost losing control of the plane? Is that what I just saw, Charlie?
Yes, and it's my least favorite kind because they want us to be on the side of the doctors, thinking that look at this wacky local low-budget pilot. But I don't ever want to put myself on the side of these doctors. I don't want to be the doctor looking down at my nose at this local pilot.
Yeah.
Because I hate these doctors. So it's just a weird situation to be in. His joke isn't funny, and I don't feel comfortable identifying with these doctors. So it's just like an airplane of unease and pain.
So they.
I don't know what that means, but yeah, it's not. It's not great, and you're just like, get on.
No, we get it. We get it by the airplane of unease and pain. You didn't need to describe it further. So they land in the middle of nowhere. They're gonna be picked up there in 6 days. At 6 days from then at noon. They discuss how the Indians believe that the moon bumped into the earth and created this great natural habitat. They pose for a photo, and they just scream cheese so loudly.
As you do.
What is going on? These grown men. Charlie.
Yeah, they're all overacting. They're all like overacting against one another. It's not just the characters. It's like the actors. And sometimes I like overacting, but not in this. It's a little too polished or something.
Is it supposed to be that they're drawing attention to themselves? Is that like the idea, perhaps, Tom?
I think so. I mean, that's what because then it cuts to like a wide shot and you kind of hear the echo, yeah.
But it's just so out of character. They wouldn't do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
These guys, these jerk doctors don't scream out cheese for a photo. All right.
They kind of do it in a jerky way, though, too. Like just being obnoxious and loud. And they're not doing it just in a fun, energetic way.
Yeah.
It's
it's in keeping with their jerkiness, but still, it's out of character. But
I would have liked it though if it ended with a shot of that photograph.
The whole movie, if the whole movie ended with it, or just that scene.
Slightly from like the wrong angle too would be good, or like with the slightly wrong grouping.
Yeah, they didn't even have a tripod.
That's usually what they do. Yeah.
All right, so then they get to the campsite where one of them informs them that they're gonna need to clear the bush. Oh no! And so now it's nighttime, so I guess they cleared the bush, and we didn't have to watch it, at least in the edit that I watched. Was that the same for you, Tom?
Yep.
Okay. They have a lot of doctor talk around the campfire. One of them's holding a blow-up doll, it seems. Is that right, Tom?
That is correct. It comes up in a couple of scenes, and it's never really referenced.
No.
It's just there.
It's never funny either. Oh, it's the worst. It's never funny in a movie to have that.
No. Doesn't
when it's funny?
What's in Old School?
Oh.
When Will Ferrell has a blow-up doll at one point, and he's carrying it, and he walks outside, and someone says, "Hey, nice doll." He goes, "Yeah, she's okay. It's good."
I never saw that.
Let's listen.
That's the only one.
Let's listen to a horrible discussion between a couple of the doctors. I'm not even sure which two it is. They're talking about the possibility, what if the moon really did hit this place?
What do you mean funny?
If the moon did bump into the earth here, I'm not saying it did, but if it did, then this place really is magic.
Theory's got no middle.
It does?
It doesn't. It's got a beginning and it's got an end. It's got no middle.
Yeah, but in this theory, the beginning and the end overlap. And that's the middle.
Okay. Oh, my God. Wow.
So annoying.
Yeah.
Every story they tell is so boring and pointless. It's amazing.
Charlie.
And you get in two stories at the same time sometimes. You hear the other guys mumbling and gossiping in the background, and I think they were trying to be, sometimes in the 70s they really liked doing that, just throwing a lot at you. On the soundtrack. Like it's very natural. Everybody's talking, but everybody's a jerk, and I hate everything they're saying. So it's like I'd rather maybe just hear one jerky.
One set of jerks at a time. Yeah.
But to be fair, the juice artist, Marty, he's not so much of a jerk as the other one. He's more just generally annoying.
Let's listen to more horrible doctor talk.
I'm doing 10. Sometimes 15 operations a day. I'm just trying to make a living. What the hell is wrong with that? What's wrong with making sure?
Why are they yelling?
We all make mistakes.
Give us a break, will you?
We work with people who make mistakes. Here!
So why don't we put all our mistakes together and see if we can't get a rebate on our premiums?
Oh my God. That's what we're dealing with. Listeners, that is what we sat through for you. We suffered through this for you, listeners. The world lost a great clown when you gave up neurology, Harry says to one of the guys. I don't know what that even means. What is it? It lost a great clown when you gave up Tom, can you decipher that?
It doesn't mean anything. So many of the things they say, they're just these statements that have no context. They're not funny. They're not poignant. They're not deep.
Right.
They're just random things that they say.
Yeah,
they're unsettling because your mind is trying to figure it out, and it just makes you angry.
Yeah.
He was a great clown, whether he's doing neurology or practicing neurology or not.
Right.
Yeah.
The world still has you as a great clown.
Or you could be more clownish if you're not practicing neurology. I'd say you become a greater clown because you're no longer distracted by neurology. You can just clown all day. So anyway, these guys are not at all endearing, and their interactions are not at all entertaining. So that's strikes 2 and 3 right there. Next day, they do some fishing. One of them's on like a leisure raft that looks like it belongs in a backyard pool, not in the deep, rugged country, Charlie.
I'm sorry, but there's the part with them dancing around shouting, right?
Oh, yeah, I failed to mention that in my notes. Tell us.
I mean, it's so...
Again, out of character.
Upset. We were really upset. All this doctor talk, right? Then the one guy who is in charge of the whole thing, DJ, he goes off into the woods by himself and decides to maybe lighten the mood by making some animal, like werewolf type call or something. And the soundtrack actually tries to play it as maybe the guys are getting attacked for a few seconds. And then he says, put this back together again. And the doctors instantly know that this means that they should dance around in a circle and sing, put them back together again.
Yeah.
Is that on your version, Farley? You saw that?
I thought it happened a little later. We'll see.
It's the first night, I think, when that happened. I could be wrong, but...
We'll see, because that reminded me of something. We'll see if it comes up.
This happens before the boots get stolen.
All right. Well, I just skipped it. Yeah, one of them plays a prank with a flashlight pretending to be a monster. Yeah, you're right. Good call.
I mean, it's terrible, I had to say, because it's so bad.
So they're just hanging out, and then they discover that all their boots are gone. And it kind of goes from 0 to 60 here. Let's listen to the conversation. It goes instantly from the missing boots to how one of them is going to go for help. Like, within 40 seconds of realizing their boots are gone, DJ is, like, out the door. This is crazy.
Why would anyone steal 5 pairs of boots?
Because they're worth $40 a pair.
There's a lot of other stuff around here that's worth much more.
Maybe whoever stole them is a boot freak. I don't know.
Don't you think we should discuss this a little?
Discuss what?
The alternatives.
What alternatives?
Start a bonfire. This area must be air patrolled.
A plane can't land on the river. Look, we've got maybe 12 hours of daylight left. If I leave now, I can make that dam by tonight.
A helicopter can get in here.
They charge you for silly rescues, Mitzi. And if you start a forest fire, they throw away the key.
Tom, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, so they're conjecturing of who. Well, maybe they stole the boots for money. Well, maybe not. Well, maybe they're a boot freak. And no one says, well, maybe somebody took them to keep us from leaving. Like, no one actually says that. They just automatically say, we've got 12 hours of daylight left. We better send someone for help. Like you said, Fred, they just jump to the fact that they're in dire straits before they even really are.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's not how anyone would react to anything.
No.
A great moment, great moment comes next, though, where DJ lectures them about having backup boots.
We wouldn't be in this jackpot. Get off it, DJ. Look! 2 months ago, I sent everyone Xerox sheets of what I would supply and what you were to bring. You were to bring extra shoes and your toothbrushes. I supplied everything else. I had everything organized. All you had to do was follow orders. What Xerox sheet?
All right,
So bad.
that's not believable. You're telling me DJ only required an extra pair of boots and a toothbrush? He's supplying everything. What about their clothing? Like their underwear?
Yeah, I mean all that stuff, and then also, what if the bad guy just stole their extra shoes too?
Yeah, that's a good point.
His
it'd be
reasoning
good if
is
on the-
terrible.
yeah.
So you're hearing someone yell at somebody else, and you hate the reasoning that guy is using.
Yeah.
That just makes me want to strangle the TV, you know?
Yeah, that's a good quote for the box. It made me want to strangle the TV. Okay, not that I want build up, but this has happened too fast. Yeah, that's my notes. Not that I want any build up. that not that I want any more of this, but it's happened too fast. But frankly, like the last third of the movie is just like struggling in the dark, you know, or in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So we could, I guess I'd rather hear them yell at each other a little more than have to sit through all that. I'm not sure. Tom.
But I don't understand why they have food. They're where they're supposed to be.
Yeah,
why don't they just wait there?
Yes.
And then go, even if it's hard to walk, you know, in your bare feet for a day, at least at the end, you know, someo's going to be there.
And there's safety in numbers.
Yeah, they had 6 days. Yeah, they had 6 days.
They have all they're missing are their shoes.
And they've only gone 1 day's walk so far.
Right.
Yeah, and good point. Okay, so now they happen upon a strung-up dead animal. One of them asks, "Where are my boots?" And the other one says, "They were stolen this morning." So DJ has left the camp. DJ's left the camp.
Right.
And the other guys, so there's 4 guys left hanging out there. They see some strung-up moose. All right. So that's that night. So now it's the next morning. Okay, a lot of. Let's start with Tom. What do you got?
Well, it's not just the strung up animal. It's like the medical symbol, like that staff with the snake around it. Oh. So it's symbolic, and they know it's a symbol that means medicine. So
the person, the creeper who's terrorizing them, hates doctors, Charlie.
Yes, and not only did he kill like a moose and hang it up there, he got some snakes to pose for some, I don't know how many hours in that exact position. There's live snakes kind of moving around, and like they stayed right there. The doctors, 0 to 60 again, they jump to the conclusion that this is the doctor symbol right off the bat, when it kind of is, but it's not 100% clear right away. And the fact that the creeper is doing this is just, it's not really believable.
So he's been waiting. He's just been waiting for a group of doctors. Like, this guy hates doctors. Yeah, and he's been out in the wilderness for decades, since the Korean War. And he's just waiting. He's like, one of these days, a group of doctors is going to come out in these woods. And they're going to be real loud, and they're going to be doing their doctor talk. So I'll know they're doctors, and then I'll pounce. Is that it, Tom?
That's his plan, yeah. It's a 1,000,000 to 1 shot, but it worked out.
Like, how did he even find them the first time? Unless he had been in the diner, or, you know, like in most horror movies, you stop somewhere, and then, like,
no, it was the
creepy
photo.
Guy spies on you. They
it's
didn't
the photo.
See hardly anybody.
It's the cheese. It's when they said cheese. He was alerted to them by the cheese, and then he went to the camp and listened to them arguing about unnecessary surgeries, and he's like, cha-ching, Tom.
And all you got to do is have the helicopter pilot be the killer. And he overhears their conversation. He has some scars. You know he's been mistreated by doctors. He drops them off, and then he comes back. Like it makes so much sense to do that instead of this.
Yeah. Wow.
Sorry, I get mad. It's so overly complicated.
Yeah. All right, so next morning, they've all decided that they're hiking out too. You know, a day after DJ, who knows what he's doing and has shoes, after he's left, the rest of them decide they're just going to wrap their feet in orange plastic bags. And then they pose for a photo, which seems, it's like, in this dire situation, let's pose for a photo. And a swarm of bees is thrown at them by the bad guy, apparently. And they run away from the bees, escape into the water. But one of them dies. I don't even know. How does he die? Do either of you know how that guy died, Charlie?
Probably allergic or something.
Okay,
but
it's
he
from the
also
bee
was
stings.
Yeah, I think so. He was tumbling down the hill, but I think the way it happened, it was probably too many stings all at once.
So I didn't even know the guy's name, alas.
Abel.
What was
Abel,
it?
Yeah.
Abel. Okay. They discuss how one of them noticed a figure in the distance when the bees fell on them. Everyone is breaking down. He was such a gentle boob, one of them says, before suggesting that they say something. But Hal Holbrook insists there's no point. He's dead.
Holbrook is the immoral center, but he's completely wrong there.
Yeah.
That's the time when you do say something. That's the whole reason he brought it up, to say something. Otherwise, you wouldn't.
Right.
There's a the nicest guy, as Charlie said, is what's his name? What's the drunk guy? Marty. It's tough. We got a Mitzi and a Marty. That's hard to keep track of. But his life is going down the tubes, and he kind of just summarizes it right here in this this great discussion of how his life's going. Let's hear Marty describe his current life circumstance.
I'm 38 years old. I'm an independent alcoholic whose last serious boyfriend is now a borderline psychotic teaching karmic fascism in the mountains.
Tom.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
He's a borderline psychotic teaching karmic fascism in the mountains.
Yeah. They don't take full psychotics at those teaching gigs. If you're borderline, they'll get you in.
Yeah, is he in a program, Tom, you think? Is there a school up there?
I don't. There's so many questions about that statement.
That's a great line, though. I like that.
Oh, and I think we could nominate him for worst life circumstances. We had been thinking of it at that time.
Yeah. Sheesh.
Is he referring to somebody that we know, or is this just a random statement?
No, that's just his backstory. That's just the guy. His last boyfriend was that guy. I got more of it that I want to play, too. Let's hear more of this.
Didn't you once say that self-sacrifice was all right as long as you could pay the rent?
Was I drinking at the time?
You were never a drinker, were you?
Yeah. 4 years non-stop in Korea. I can even remember when I gave it up and why.
Why?
Because of a bridge over the Imjim River. I was drunk and bored at the time. God, was I bored.
Oh, I can't listen anymore. Like, all this, like, I feel like the writer thinks he's literary, you know? And he's wrong, Charlie.
Oh, so he says, I can remember when I gave it up. He gave it up in Korea after doing some dangerous airplane stunt, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So why would, years later, when he was back talking with Marty, would Marty say, hey, was I drinking? Were you drinking at the time? Or, you know, why would Holbrook say, was I drinking at the time? Because he should know after his time in the war, he wasn't a drinker ever at all. It's like they just wanted to have an excuse to get this story in.
It's this, big circular.
I didn't do that good a job describing it, but it's completely true that he shouldn't even have asked that question.
You're right.
Okay, so then the other guy. So wait, who's left? So Abel's dead, so we're down to DJ's off in the distance somewhere, and we're down to Mitzi, Marty, and Harry. Then these become the three key guys. Marty is the alcoholic. Harry's the ethical, moral center, and Mitzi is annoying. Charlie?
And Marty and DJ are brothers.
Oh, okay.
And I give DJ a little bonus, or the whole movie a little bonus points for his Expos hat. That was nice.
Yeah, I love that. That was a nice touch. Yeah.
That was the only thing raising my spirits a little. I was like, wow, nice old Montreal Expos hat.
All right, so now Marty is breaking down. No. First, they find a rope that they assume DJ would have used. They think it's a good sign.
But
jumping to conclusions once again, huh?
Mitzi is so proud of himself there. Oh, do you guys remember? He says, "Hey guys, look what I found!" He's everything he says is shouting. 95% of what he says, I shouldn't shout while I say that. 95% of what Mitzi does is shouting, and like a cloying, weird way of just saying Harry's name too much, But he says here, "Hey guys, look what I found! It's a rope! It's DJ's!" Yeah, it's like, oh man.
Yeah, he's such a doofus. Yeah. Okay, so then Marty has like a breakdown, and he wants to cross the river, and they're trying to stop him, and there's all this like drama, like don't, and like it's crazy.
It's a week.
Harry says they shouldn't have a fire. Wait, did Marty get his foot stuck yet, or what? No, it hasn't even happened yet. Okay. So he has him break down. Harry says they shouldn't have a fire. So the other guy goes through all the food they can't eat without a fire. Mitzi does.
Temper tantrum.
He has a temper, yeah.
Mitzi is great at bringing up problems and not offering any solutions.
Yes. Bingo.
Perfect.
He also says, "Let's see what we've got for Din Din," which is one of the most annoying things any human could ever say in this universe.
What a character. So did you guys notice like the night scenes are just so quick? Like boom, it's night, and then 2 seconds later it's daytime again. Anyway, just noting that.
Yeah, that was smart actually, but it's cheap, you know.
It's jolting. It's jolting. Not that I want more dark scenes, but it's like let's ease in a little bit.
Yeah, they couldn't pull it off.
Marty, okay, next morning they're crossing the river. Marty falls while they're crossing. There's lots of struggling. His leg got stuck in a trap. Is that what happened, I guess, Charlie?
Yeah, they're shouting a bit as they're crossing it first. Marty starts freaking out, reverting to childhood. I wrote down. then he starts shouting, "Where are you, DJ?" And it was reminding me of Halloween 5 with the little girl just yelling incessantly.
Yeah.
Marty's acting like a drunk baby, and then the guys are crossing the river, and then the bear trap happens, and then you get even more Marty freak out.
Oh, so much.
And he's our favorite. He's our favorite. Now here's so they deal with that, and then this is great where Mitzi suggests that their mistakes are responsible for this, where he kind of spells out the whole anti-doctor sentiment that the bad guy has. This is good stuff.
Something like jolly self-incrimination.
We're doctors, Marty. It's not inconceivable that one of our mistakes is a reason for all of this.
Shall we start with our own mistakes? All the mistakes we helped with, all the mistakes we participated. How about just our worst mistakes, our very worst, best mistakes? After all, we don't want the proceedings to turn into a witch hunt.
It's a simple question. All you have to say is no. I'll take your word for it.
Mitzi, just stop!
It's possible we're all paying for something one of us is responsible for. It's not outside the realm of possibility.
Yeah, but it's one hell of an assumption.
And tell me, Harry, what in God's name this clown is after? You think it's theft?
Getting drunk, Mitzi.
Spare me the temperance lecture, Harry.
Martin's the one who's supposed to be getting drunk.
Just because your old man was a juicer, Harry, doesn't make the rest of us candidates for Skid Row. I know what I'm doing.
All right. Although the juicer line makes me wonder about the juice artist, Tom. Are you standing by your stance?
I stand by it. We got to go back and listen to the rest of the conversation.
Yeah, it makes me feel the same way. Questioning. You know what, Mitzi? It is inconceivable. I almost feel like the movie wants us to feel at that point, hey, he has a point. Maybe there's something going on here. But no, there's not someone that you could have wronged who would have flown up into the middle of nowhere weeks in advance, set up bear traps underwater, and concocted this elaborate plan to bring snakes, kill an elk, hang it up, get a beehive at the ready, all this stuff. No.
Yeah.
Not conceivable.
Inconceivable. Absolutely. It's ridiculous.
But Harry says, like, that's quite an assumption.
Yes, I know. Thank you, Hal Holbrook. Seriously, a voice of reason.
He does good, but I don't even want to hear Harry. Like, I hear Mitzi talking about this, and it's like.
But what is the? I don't even know what is the motives. What are the motives of the bad guy, though? He just hates doctors in general. It's not a specific thing, right?
Because no, it's specific. It's family related.
But not specific to these. But not to these doctors.
No, other doctors, other army doctors.
All doctors. He hates them all. Okay.
Yeah, but maybe even especially Harry because he was in the military.
The bad guy only knows about these guys what he's gleaned from spying on them, right, Tom?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's nothing else unless he tortured DJ and found out some info that we don't know about.
Off camera.
That's giving them a lot of credit.
All right.
And you don't see him spying yet in the movie. It doesn't happen until later that they actually have POVs of spying.
I thought at that opening camping scene there was a chance that they indicated he was hovering about. No?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Harry completes a procedure on Marty's ankle. Marty screams through it all. They get a floating stretcher built somehow. I don't know how. They just built that out of sticks, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to take him downriver. So they're heading towards the dam, which is where they think DJ is, right?
Right.
Okay. So now we have an endless scene in which they struggle to move him in the rough water as he drunkenly rambles about chimps and armadillos. Seriously, that's I'm not lying, listeners. That really happened.
It's horrible.
So now, then Mitzi and Harry get into a fight, which leaves poor Marty just aimlessly floating in the river. These guys are doctors. These are doctors, and they're all idiots.
That's the best part. That's the best part of the whole movie.
They're just wrestling in the river while their friend just is could go anywhere, you know?
There's so much anger in this movie. It's as if there's not enough. All of a sudden, just these two guys start duking it out in the water.
All right, so now it's nighttime. Marty is suffering from what Harry believes to be a subdural hematoma. Hematoma, is that a word? I don't know. Toma, maybe. He's still responding to external stimuli, though, which is good news. Then they have.
He's awake. 2 seconds later, they're talking to him, answering questions.
They have a talk about Harry's father. It's quite emotional, and it ends quickly. Now it's morning again. I don't care about the Harry's turmoil, or anybody's backstory. It feels so writerly, ugh. So. Yeah. While they're scoping out the land, the bad guy drops a service medal on the unconscious guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. So this bad guy is stealthy, huh?
Yeah. Well, see, he seems like a woodsman. So.
Yeah, he can do anything. So now they're carrying the stretcher, and they slip, and they argue. Let's listen to Harry and Mitzi having a little fight after slipping.
Why don't you watch where you're going? How about letting me take the front for a while? What difference does it make? It makes a hell of a difference. You try back there for a while. All right.
All right, you take the front. If you think it's so much easier, take it.
Now you're being petty.
If you want to take the front, take the front. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, it matters to me. It's a hell of a lot easier when you can see where you're going.
Then take the damn thing.
I will.
Oh.
Couple of children.
It's really magic though.
It's funny. I'll get that's actually funny.
One tiny thing too is that this movie must have been hard to film.
Yes. Oh my
that
God.
Shot right there.
It's desolate.
2 actors without stunt people.
Yeah,
are carrying a stretcher, right?
With a person on it, presumably.
On these slippery rocks.
Yeah.
Anyone could hurt his ankle and just to get the camera gear up there, I mean, it's pretty believable in sort of a Just Before Dawn kind of way, or like a real deep, embedded in the woods kind of.
To go all that way to make this movie. Oh, what a waste. Man. All right, so now Harry's telling a boring story about rice paddies and the war. He's way too into the story. It's out of character, it seems to me.
Yeah.
The guy.
It's like he's getting happy.
Tom.
I do like the fact that they show him like trying to patch together a meal, because up until now they don't eat anything. It's like there's nothing. There's no like survival moments other than just like lumbering through the woods and like just going through this. Like there's not like, you know, setting up camp, trying to eat, like setting up a guard or something. You know, they don't do any of those things.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
And I'd rather watch that than them wrestling, you know?
Right.
The guy asks Harry, what's the point of this story? And Harry says the point is either self-evident or there isn't any, which is a good line. I need to use that in life more. Mitzi suggests that they leave Marty to protect themselves. This is good stuff. I think this is what I have lined up for let's listen to that.
A man.
He's not after him. He's after us. He's using him to grind us down. As long as we're carrying him, it's just where he wants us. We've got to start thinking like him. He expects us to carry him. He's counting on it.
I don't think so. If anything, he wants to see if we'll leave him. He wants to degrade us first.
Hasn't he already?
He hasn't even started. He wants our faces in it. He wants us crawling.
When we're dead, who's going to know whether we crawled or not?
We will.
We'll be the only ones.
So Mitzi wants to just abandon Marty, you know. Mitzi is a weak little jerk, Charlie.
This is where they try to get like the main theme of the movie, which is like, you know, don't get degraded or die honorably or something
no
like
man
that,
left behind. Yeah. Harry, as always, is trying to save this lost cause, which we've built up early in the movie. Apparently, Harry left his dad in some kind of situation in the past. I don't care that much, but Tom, did you get that backstory? Did you figure that out?
Yeah, I didn't get too much of it, but it's something like that. Yeah, I think his dad was in a bad way, and Harry left without helping or something like that. But we don't know if it was like he was dying in the woods.
Yeah, was it in the woods?
No,
Charlie, did you get any more of that?
He was just an alcoholic, and Harry didn't want to deal with it or something.
All right. Now Mitzi starts shouting the Hail Mary into the canyon, which is, again, you know, much like screaming cheese for a photo. Not when you're being stalked by an evil person, you don't just like shout the Hail Mary. Now it's nighttime for 5 seconds, and boom, it's daytime. They wake to find the head of, it must have been Marty's brother, is on a stake. Is that whose head is there? Or is it DJ?
Abel.
It's Abel. Who's Abel?
The photographer guy.
Isn't that Marty's brother?
No, Marty's brother is DJ.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Abel was the guy who died with the
bee
bees.
stings. The guy who died with the bee stings, his head. And, I mean, these doctors are sleeping really soundly for being stalked by an evil killer. They just have a nice rest while the killer's just, like, doing whatever he wants around the campsite.
He got drunk though. That they sold that.
Tom.
But like this just reinforces that after Abel died, they not only didn't say anything, they just left his body there on the edge of the hill and just went about their business.
Yeah.
Like it's not like they could have taken some time. They're not really in a rush to go anywhere. And they have food, but they're like, oh, we gotta go later.
Yeah. What's the point, says Harry, who is supposedly our moral compass.
He's the one who's supposed to care so much, and he didn't even want to say.
He did not even say a few words.
He's all over the place sometimes.
I
still like him though.
Harry throws the stake with the head on it into the ravine. Whoever did it left an army X-ray by the stake, just to kind of hint to the guys. I hate doctors. Doctors did me wrong. Here's some proof of it, and you're gonna pay for it. Is essentially the message that he's sending, and they pick up on it way more than I would have. Like the only reason the characters know that they're being stalked because they're doctors is because the screenwriter needs to tell the audience. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not the logical conclusion that I would just think we're being stalked. I wouldn't be like, oh, it's because of our profession.
Right. Nobody would. No one would think that.
Mitzi announces he won't carry Marty. So he's just like, I'm not going to do it. Mitzi is a child. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not carrying Marty. So he just kind of goes off on his own, it seems, for a while. And Harry is a hero. He drags a stretcher by himself. One moment he's in the river with the stretcher. The next moment he's up atop a high, desolate, dry wasteland.
It turned into like post-up. It looked like a scene from Mad Max there or something. And his pace is so ridiculously slow when he's dragging that stretcher. Anybody would be able to tell that it's impossible to get anywhere.
Yeah, so they just cut to it and no questions asked because no one cares. As he struggles, a figure approaches. Is it Mitzi? I don't even know. I guess it is. Does he say, you'll get us both killed?
Yeah, but Mitzi finally gives in.
He's come around and he's going to help Carrie.
I'll help, yeah.
Okay, so then they get to the dam. At the top of the hill is DJ. But he's not dead. Okay, he's not dead. I got a lot of questions. First
off, you get Mitzi crying when they reach the dam, which is unpleasant.
There's medical papers left by DJ. More hints about the motives of the bad guy. But so Mitzi wants to leave him there. Harry wants to take him down. Turns out he's alive. Okay, there's so many inconsistencies. Harry at first thinks he's dead, which the first time back when Abel was dead, Harry didn't care. Remember? Mm-hmm. But now he wants to take DJ's body down and treat it with respect. So that's inconsistent. Now we discover that DJ's alive, and so Harry instantly, with no examination, no consideration, just glances at his beat up body and determines immediately he must be. We must do a mercy killing right now, and he just strangles him. Right, Tom?
Yeah, he says he's been put in traction, which I don't know if that's something you can't like.
What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. What does that mean?
I don't really know what it means either.
Okay, but let's examine him a little bit more. Give it more than 30 seconds. 30 seconds in, he strangles the man to death. This is Harry. This is Harry, the champion of lost causes, Charlie.
And if he were of any other profession, you would say he's not an expert. He doesn't know. But he's a friggin' doctor. He's a doctor. His whole thing is they've been like checking everybody all throughout. Like when Marty needed to be checked and have his stuff done, they were like, okay, doctoring him.
Why hasn't he mercy killed Marty? And in the next scene, he leaves Marty there to suffer and says, I'll come back. Marty, I'm going to leave you here to suffer. Just it's exactly how DJ was suffering. I killed him, but I'm just going to let you keep suffering. This makes no sense. There's nothing. it's just like a mistake. A huge mistake by the screenwriter that was carried out by everyone else involved. No, at any point did Hal Holbrook say, like, what?
Yeah, just yesterday, my character said, I'd rather die than not drag this guy on the stretcher. Now, I'm like, goodbye, old buddy. I'll come back for you.
There's some weird cuts going on. Like, now, like, Mitzi runs off, it seems. Now Harry's in some kind of shelter where he leaves Marty. He tells the unconscious man that he'll come back for him. What are you saying, Tom?
It's in the dam. It's like an abandoned dam.
Okay, a little
Like
house.
Or something.
So he essentially tells Marty, I just killed your brother, but I'm gonna let you continue to suffer here.
But dies though.
Say what?
Marty dies though.
Oh, do we know?
Yeah, before he can leave, he dies.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Okay. So now it's nighttime again. Someone is walking in the woods. I can't even tell who it is. And Harry wakes up in a cabin or something. Were you guys as confused as me at this point?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, Harry, he makes his way to a cabin. He's of sound mind or whatever.
So he goes to the cabin, which is where the brother of the bad guy lives? Or both of them live?
I think they're roommates.
Yeah, I think they're roommates.
They make it work, And
it's just darkness, and then he's just in the cabin all of a sudden.
And he starts eating some random meat.
But he woke up, like he took a nap. He took a nap at some point, it seems. Did I get that wrong?
It's impossible to tell. It's all dark.
It's just so dark. We have no idea what's going on. There's a fight with a bearded guy, and then Harry tends to the guy with his doctorly instincts. And that's when we learn that this is the brother of the bad guy. What is it? Does he tell us anything, Tom? I don't even know.
Yeah, he explains a little bit. The blind guy's name is Jesse, and he says some things about his brother, getting butchered in the war by the doctors or something, and he like lives out in the woods, but he's a good hunter. He says stuff like that.
Yeah, he said when he first meets Holbrook, he says, "You one of them doctors?" I tried to stop him. So like he, saying that he didn't want his brother to do this crazy thing. These doctors are like their whereabouts is news of the world. Everybody is aware of this.
So something happens, but it's too dark to tell, is what I write in my notes.
He gets a sword. The old guy gets a sword, and he starts swinging it, and Harry gets an axe.
I thought he was. What about a shotgun? Is Harry loading a shotgun?
He's getting that. He's getting that now. After some more darkness, then the killer secretly stabs Harry in the leg, I think. Then Harry starts like loading a shotgun.
Okay, then now it's Mitzi's hanging from a tree somewhere, and he's calling for help. I hate Mitzi so much.
Oh, he yells so much here.
Someone's gonna have to explain the ending to me, is what I write in my notes. Harry lit something on fire.
So Harry has a deep wound in his leg that he has to cauterize before he can go help Mitzi.
Okay.
He got his artery cut, so he can't walk. So he like lights some gunpowder and puts it in his leg, and then burns that to cauterize the wound. And like all along, he's trying to do that while Mitzi's like, "Come on, Harry, you gotta save me, Harry." And Harry's like, "Shut up."
Did they bring up like more backstory about Harry having killed his own brother? Is that a thing, or did I imagine that, Charlie?
Imagined, I think.
Okay, the bad guy comes through the door. Harry shoots him. I have a question mark there. I'm getting yeses from Charlie. All right, so yes, yeah. Harry shoots him. Sun comes up the next morning, and Harry wanders off to the road, and he's reached a road, and it's assumed that someone's gonna pick him up. And thank God, Rituals is all over. Did I miss any key elements at the end there, Tom, or did I get the gist of it?
No, I think that was the gist of it. I don't know what happens with Jesse. I don't know if he dies or not. I think he's just like asleep the whole time.
Is that the bad guy or the brother of the bad guy?
That's the brother. I don't really know what happens with him.
And what about
I think he
Mitzi?
does. He gets chopped with an axe at some point.
What about Mitzi? Did Mitzi die, or is he just still hanging from that tree?
Yep.
Mitzi died.
Thank God.
Got burned in the tree. There's like a very 1 millisecond cut to it, which is like the cover on the VHS tape is that millisecond.
Wow. And Cage Terror is the one where the guy Richard keeps hollering in the cage, right?
Yeah.
I was getting echoes of that here with just Mitzi. His voice cuts through somehow in a way that I have not yet encountered in my life. But just his hollering was so
horrible.
painful so many times. He must say the word Harry. Like, I don't know, in this movie, 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So let's review it. I mean, it's pretty obvious, listeners. We do not really like rituals. It's dark and hard to see. I usually like the woods, but it doesn't look very good. Maybe the original print looks a lot better than what we've seen. But there's very few redeeming qualities. It's maybe just the karmic fascism is the high point. Tom, you want any further opinions?
Yeah, I mean, I like some of the scenery. Some of the shots are nice, and like Charlie said, thinking about how they got out there to do this is kind of impressive. And by and large, I like Holbrook, even though he's all over the place with his morality. But if it wasn't for Holbrook, there'd be really nothing here. Like, you would just be so unhappy the whole time. That's kind of all you can take away from it.
Charlie?
Yeah, I agree. Holbrook, I mean, when he kind of sticks up for not being as much of a jerk, those are the few times I'm sort of okay watching the movie. Other than that, it's too much shouting. There's too much yelling. They thought that including like a moment of calm or something not writerly was like a sign of weakness or something you don't do.
Yeah.
And the whole movie is so writerly. It's so trying to be poignant, and it's just not well done. And the little sayings aren't good. The jokes aren't. There's not really that many jokes, but what isn't really funny. And
the blow up doll perhaps is an attempt at a joke. And
yeah. Oh,
yes.
But I promised myself I was going to be a little nicer to this movie, and I did not.
You're going back on your promise, yeah.
I went back on my promise to myself. So that's why I threw him a bone about saying it's hard to film out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely thought of that too. And in fact, I thought if I were Hal Holbrook, I would just stop. I'd just be like, no, I'm not going out there anymore, guys. I can't. This is not worth it. I'm sorry that the movie's not done.
And I think we don't really like to get into too much of the how was this movie made, and because I just really want to put it in and is it entertaining or not. But I think there's some story about that there was like tax money that was coming in, and they wanted. It's almost maybe a story like The Pit has, where there were other producers interfering. And in fact, if they interfered, I read that they wanted there to be killers in the movie and have them be visual. I probably think that's better.
Yeah, they were right.
What they had planned for being more of an artsy, avant-garde, annoying time in the woods with poetry or something.
Yeah, the short-sighted, money-grubbing producers are usually correct.
Yeah, it could have been more Friday the 13th and less,
less deliverance.
70s like dystopian poetry.
Yeah. So the movie stinks. And it's 70s, like it's mid-set. What is it? 77, and it seems influenced by Deliverance and
yeah.
And it's just a epic failure in so many ways. It was Shock Memories. It was hard to watch the first time. It's hard to watch this time. It's really just the concept of the shoes was memorable to me. I feel like they sold it on that. Just like, imagine 4 doctors in the woods. They wake up and all their shoes are gone, and someone's like, "I'm buying that,"
That's the main thing I remember too.
Yeah, and that's cool. Like that, they could have built on that. Like it's a subtle thing. Like they're like, oh, our shoes are gone. That's weird. And then, but then they're like, oh, whatever. Somebody must have played a joke, and they go about their business. And then like it becomes more important as things build up. But they go from this interesting kind of premise to like instantly they're on the run in the forest, so you lose all the fun.
Yeah, there's no suspense, no build up. It's 0 to 60, Charlie.
If the characters are making decisions that are dumb or putting out hypotheses that don't make sense, the whole movie goes off the rails instantly, and that's what happens here. Because I'm not on the side of DJ saying, "Hey man, good idea. Talk for 35 seconds and then walk away from the group to go to some random dam." Where they're not going to have 5 pairs of boots there or whatever many pairs. What are they going to do? You're just going to turn around and walk back, and you're going to be in the same place that you were. Or maybe they have a radio, and then they're going to call a helicopter, the same that would have seen the forest fire, and you're going to have to pay anyway.
Yeah, so dumb. So dumb.
You got to have your characters making good decisions, or at least being likable.
Yeah. So that's Rituals. Oh, what a title. Rituals. Like, it's so vague and unrelated. There's no rituals in the movie. Survival is not a ritual. The poor the box cover guy who was given that task. He's like, why is it called Rituals? They're like, I don't know. Just think of something. He's like, survival?
I prefer it to the Creeper.
Yeah.
I do too.
For no good reason. I also, it's the one that we connected with when we first had the VHS.
But, well, like you said, the Creeper should be about a guy in the suburbs who's like stalking young co-eds. That would be the Creeper. Creeper does not fit this movie at all. This guy's not a creeper, the bad guy,
No. He's set up like displays for them. Visual, like
yeah.
He's more like a window dresser.
Yeah.
He's, like on Christmas, you make a nice thing at JCPenney or something. He's like, here's my elk head with snakes. Enjoy. And like, here's DJ in traction with medical records on his chest.
Those are not creeper behaviors at all.
Yeah. Or if he replicated the things that were done to him to these guys, or something like. There's some ways to make it interesting, but.
He should have just been a bad guy. Why did it have to be that he hated doctors? It's so stupid. So high concept.
And this guy in this cabin was able to save they gave him the medical X-rays from some apparently botched surgery. I'm like, hey, you want to keep some evidence of this bad doctrine?
Yeah,
and then,
30 years ago.
Does he have a file cabinet in that shack, that shotgun shack?
What has he been doing for 30 years? He's just been waiting for the next doctor to cross his path in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. There's no way he would know that they're a doctor. They don't even have anything on there that's...
All right.
To even know you already said it. Yeah. It all happens from cheese, I guess.
It's because they said cheese too loudly. They should have had like a dark musical cue, like they said cheese loudly. This is the beginning of the end.
And in the spin-off, anytime anyone takes a picture and yells cheese, this guy has to like run over there and check, listen to them, be like, no. These are a group of professional golfers, and then he would come back. He'd wait for the next camping group to come through. Now some students, they're fine. They come back to his shack with Jesse, hang out for another 30
decades. Decades, he does this, just waiting for the perfect storm. All right, listeners, we're gonna try. Let's try to pick a movie that we like for next month, because I feel like we've done bad movies, movies we hate for a while. So. It's getting too negative here. We're going to try to be happy next time. For Tom and Charlie, this is Farley saying good night.